morning. Don't forget, you can't spell daddy without the Addy. I said you can't spell daddy without the Addy. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We have a wonderful show. Moving a little slower and late today. You know, we've been on time, hitting that 8 o'clock time, trying to be on point. But, man, are we the only ones having a slow start to this Monday?
Yeah.
You think so? I don't know. The Super Bowl was yesterday. It was a big weekend for most people, kind of cold, but a little bit of warmth showed up. I bet we're not the only people having a slow Monday today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
There's probably quite a few bit out there.
Yeah.
What do you think the buffalo said to his son when he dropped him off at school?
I don't know. What do you think?
Bye, son. You get it?
Because
Bye,
son. It's a scientific name for buffalo.
You might have to explain that to a few people.
Okay.
Addy, thank you for getting here on time today. Thank you for leading America. Let's get the pledge going. Let's get the sip going. Let's remind everybody why they're here, to stop in and get some fun jokes and that sip together to get that dopamine hit of the day. Go ahead, Addy.
All you need is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankard or chalice or stein, and a canteen jug or a flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill with your favorite liquid. I usually like coffee. Hot cocoa works too. Fresh made, homemade chocolate sauce, country peanut butter or soft peanut butter. I'm not letting it go, Jack, but anything works. And let's do a simultaneous sip.
Thank you, Scott, for setting us all up.
Thank you, Scott.
And as always, thank you to Erica, who's still leading that charge. You have Scott Adams School at 9 o'clock for anybody who would like to learn how to rewire the brain,
Right.
get over your past trauma, get over your past self, get over your current cognitive dissonance from whichever side of the aisle you think you're on, and you want to learn how to be able to be a better journalist, be a better scientist, just be a better version of yourself, unlock some of that locked up potential. Scott Adams has multiple books, multiple free lectures that are available online for you, for us, for Addy, for anybody to learn,
Change
and grow. That's the beautiful part about the internet, guys, is that these lectures that some of these great men and women have given us are now there available for you. So you can pop in, even if you've never heard of Scott Adams and you're only hearing it somehow by seeing our show today, please stop over and learn more about what Scott Adams can do for you and for your, what do we want to say? Potential. Is that right?
Potential. Yeah, potential.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Now, also, there's lots of other podcasts that we love, and we'll get to those. And as we start getting back to some more category of one, we'll teach us a few things here on this show. Is that right?
Yes, it will.
Now, I'm currently reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down. Addy, could you please lead that beautiful pledge? We had a wonderful weekend. I don't know about everybody else, but if you saw, for the first of its kind here on America's 250, we finally had, when I think about it, I did like the Whitney Houston halftime performance when I was growing up. Black History Month, we should shout out that one of the greatest Super Bowl halftime shows of all time was Whitney Houston. Addy got to see a little bit of that. But let's go forward with what happened yesterday. Amazing performance, 10 million current views and over 25 total just this morning when we woke up from the TP USA Charlie Kirk halftime show that was family-based, sponsored by Kid Rock and a whole bunch of other cool kids out there. It was awesome. Yeah. Absolutely wonderful performance. And now we remember why we're united. Right, Addy?
Yes, we are.
Lead that way.
Let's go, kids. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all, as you know, has been the theme of this show since we started. We're here on episode 48, and we've made it abundantly clear that justice is coming for all. Most of the liberals that started on episode 5 ridiculing us and saying that they needed to see proof for the things that we've said have all stopped. Isn't that right?
Yes, it has.
And the number one reason that they folded, and some of them are our biggest fans now, just like Addy said they would be, is simple. We showed the data, and we showed it before it was happening, and as it happened, and as it's come out. We made it abundantly clear that this administration is standing against the corruption that has plagued our land. It doesn't matter the state that you're in. It doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. This administration is sending in the good guys, has created a new division, because even if you catch fraud apparently in America, you can't do much about it, whether you're in Minnesota, California, or Texas, as you see the AG Ken Paxton actively, aggressively going after things happening there in a red state. You see Florida, a red state, not just going after those pieces, but also, as we've reported weekly, that Florida is testing the food, the water, the candy,
the bread.
The bread.
And chlorine in it. I could use it for weed killer, right?
That's right, Addy. Now, let me ask you, why is it taking until 2026 to finally see people stand up against these big pharma and poisons? Why do you think?
Because I think that they were getting paid. I think Florida was getting paid not to do that, not to show it until 2026, until they had enough of it.
Yeah, you're basically right, Ed. That before this administration here in Florida, under DeSantis, his wife, and all of his people, the AG, other states have been pinned down. The money doesn't flow if you speak up. We saw one Democrat candidate in Minnesota stand up against the fraud, and she was murdered. I don't know if you guys remember this story, because we can't give you a whole lot of details, but a Democrat in Minnesota that stood up against fraud, she was murdered. That's odd. So now we see across the administration, across the U.S., finally something happening about the corruption, and that's going to make a better America for you, Addy, and a better America for every individual, no matter which state that you're in. And that's what we're proud to see. When we say justice for all, we want everybody. It does not matter any political affiliation whatsoever. We want to see each and every one of us taken care of. Is that right?
Yes, we do.
All right. Now, before we get to that, I think you should understand why the skeleton went to the dance alone.
Why?
He had nobody to go with. I'm just kidding. What do you call a fake noodle? You might know this one. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta. I thought you were going to get that one. That was good. Guys, so you heard our brief piece before we talked about the Pledge of Allegiance there. You saw the first of its ever time halftime show that went over very well with TPUSA. Wonderful performances. I like the classical part when you had the cello and the violin playing. Obviously, that's a favorite of ours. Yeah. Absolutely epic to be able to show so many diverse pieces of music. I think that was another wonderful part about the halftime show that we saw. We don't know about the one that a lot of other people saw, but the one that we watched was very diverse and had a huge range of music, which really made it even more entertaining for trying to dance, right?
Yeah.
We had to switch up the dance style. Guys, well, as you know, it's Black History Month, and we want to bring you some news, something that you may be able to learn, change, and grow with. One of the things that we're talking about right now is Thomas Sowell. Are you familiar with him? Addy's read a little bit about, but do you know Thomas Sowell? Well, let's talk about it. In the National Humanities Medal from 2002, he's been around for a long time. The National Endowment for Humanities, Freedom 250, has this posted up. You can find the website. We'll include it down below. And it goes off very well and talks in detail about Thomas's accomplishments, where he's come from, what he's done, where he's once stood, and where he is on a lot of the topics that are here in 2026, debated about from all the mainstream media that you would click on to watch. Let's learn a little bit about Thomas Sowell today. Thomas's path has not been an easy one. His education as a child in Harlem didn't include graduation from high school. A stint in the Marines coincided with the Korean War. And despite the difficult start, he went on to receive degrees in economics from Harvard University, Columbia University, and the University of Chicago. Addy, so this young man had it very rough growing up, very rough. Yeah. Some of the roughest of the rough that you could have it. This young man had that. He joined the Marines. He served his country. And what did he get for joining the Marines and serving his country?
What?
He got a higher level education to 3 of the most prestigious schools in the land. That's the American dream that we want to see. Is that right, Addy?
Yes, we do.
It's a great way to start off Black History Month reading about Thomas, that he came from Harlem, served his country, and then went on to get degrees from 3 of the most prestigious colleges. But there's so much more than just that beginning. Every man, every woman, we go through trials and tribulations, and we learn,
change,
and we grow. Now, depending on when you met Thomas, you could have asked him certain questions, and he may have changed his view. Is that right, Addy?
Yes.
If you had met Thomas earlier on in his career while he was living in Harlem, he might have had a different view on what life was going to look like as he got older. Isn't that right?
Yes, he could have.
Have you met him as a Marine? He may have had a different outlook at life while he was at boot camp. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And depending on how he was feeling when he was at the University of Harvard or Chicago, he may have had a slightly different view on life. Is that right?
Yes, he could have.
But what happens to a man, especially here in Thomas, as we're going to learn, as you have more experiences, as you learn more about intentions, and you see the outcomes of your ideals and policies, what happens to a man or a woman?
They learn, change, and grow.
That's the beautiful part about seeing wisdom. And Thomas lays it out there. He's got multiple books for us to read, but let's continue down his career. Again, we're reading from the National Endowment for the Humanities, Freedom 250. If you've not been to this site, we encourage you to check it out, and you can read more about Thomas and his career.
Yep.
We're reading just a brief excerpt. His career as an author began in 1972 with the autobiographical Black Education, Myths and Tragedies. More than 30 books later, guys, we told you that Thomas has had experiences in life. How many books has this guy written?
How many?
30, Addy. 30 books already. I think he's putting out a new one, but this guy's written 30 books, guys. And the experiences that a man has growing up in Harlem, the experiences that a man gets going into the Marines in the middle of the Korean War, right? Most of us have watched MASH episodes. We've seen some things. Mm-hmm. Then he goes on to 3 of the prestigious colleges. Didn't have a high school degree, but he went into the Marines, then comes back and goes to the 3 highest colleges, which means he had to work his buns off. He had to go through all sorts of experiences we can only fathom and imagine, or you can check out his books and you can get some of.
Yep.
But what we want to talk to you about is that during those 30 years in between, he's explored the intersection of economics and society with several bestsellers. So a lot of our viewers and a lot of our friends out here, you've probably read some of Thomas Sowell. It's probably something that you've gone through or read excerpts of, but we encourage you, if you haven't, check out some of these books. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're going to have, especially during Black History Month, these are worth the read and worth the conversation that will be caused from it. Okay. You have several bestsellers, including Race and Culture, A Worldview, The Quest for Cosmic Justice, A Vision of the Anointed Self, Congratulations as a Basis for Social Policy. In his work, Sowell focuses on empirical evidence rather than theatrical probabilities. Guys, this is the biggest thing we want to talk about. Thomas is clear that he focuses on empirical evidence rather than theoretical probabilities. Okay, I think I said theatrical, but theoretical and theatrical, both at the same time. You might even agree with me. Theoretical probabilities. What is Thomas saying here, Addy? Let's break that down before we read more. What is Thomas saying here when he says that he wants to look at empirical evidence rather than theoretical probabilities? What does that mean, Addy, to you as an 8-year-old?
I think he wants to look at the evidence. The evidence before he looks out, I think he wants to look at the evidence so he can be like kind of like Sherlock Holmes and figure out like the clues. Yeah. He wants to see the clues so he can go clue, clue, clue. They can put it together.
You're right, Addy. That is how it works. That is how the logical brain, how intelligence works. We want to see evidence. Now, do we actually understand? I mean, we read Plato all the time, right? Do we understand some form of theory and needing to discuss that?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? Isn't that how we call it brainstorming, right? Mm-hmm. But what Thomas is talking about is that when we look at some of the bigger issues and we look at what society comes up with, he's saying we can't always, and we can't even just in general, accept theories of what could happen when instead we should be looking at what is happening. And this is very important because Thomas brought this up since the 70s, okay? We are now in 2026. If we have anything now after 30, another 20, 50 plus years, do we have empirical evidence?
Yes.
Yes. Do we still have people screaming and yelling about theoretical probabilities?
Yes.
And have we seen how crazy some of these theoretical probabilities have gotten?
Yes, we have.
But here's why. We're not going to tell you about the probabilities, and we're not going to name, call, and point fingers at everybody, okay? Because the left, the right, anybody can do this, and everybody probably does. This is why Thomas has made it very clear for those of us trying to learn,
trying to change,
and grow. And for Black History Month, we want to focus on this. Thomas's work is about empirical evidence rather than theoretical probabilities. And we want to make sure that you understand at home how this works again, because it's everything that we've talked about from good to, not from good to great, from category of one. Isn't that right, Eddie? You know, we have 3 rules for category of 1, right? What's our third one that you know very well?
Emotionally connect with your customer than anyone else. Coca-Cola does that by emotionally connecting with the customers than anyone else.
And we watched commercials last night from 1970s, Eddie, didn't we? From Coca-Cola.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, because we watched the movie Miracle. Did you watch the movie Miracle?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Team USA?
Team USA! USA!
What did you learn about Team USA when they started working out on the ice? They were all from different teams and from everywhere else. But what did that coach make them do?
He made them keep practicing until one of them said this. My name is this.
Rizzo.
My name is Rizzo, and I serve the USA country.
I played for Team USA.
I play for Team USA.
Which he does serve the country, isn't that right?
Yes.
Right. He took honor and respect, and he stopped his division, and he came together. Is that right?
Yes, he did.
And did they go on to beat those big, bad Soviets?
Yes, they did.
Oh, man. Did they go on to get gold medal?
Yes, they did.
And are those great men that accomplished great things together?
Yes, they did.
And we can't forget about the women, the mothers that took him to the school. I mean, one of our main guys in the game, he said he'd never even would have made it there if it wasn't for his mom, right?
Right.
So we never forget that. No man does anything alone, guys. We are in this together. So we may give some credit sometimes. Say, look what a man did. But do we know no man has done anything by himself?
No.
Teamwork
makes the dream work.
We know that. So never get that confused on this show, right?
Never.
But that was one of the things that we saw is, again, everybody in the situation was against the coach, right? For the miracle. And he had to explain to his team, he had to get them united. Is that right?
Yes, he did.
That's what Thomas is trying to do through his books. You'll see people pick left, pick right, do whatever you want, but it doesn't matter. Much like Charlie Kirk having the open debate about your principles, Thomas Sowell is looking for empirical evidence. We're not looking for theatrics. We're not looking for the theoretical response. And we're bringing this to your attention, guys, because number 3 for category of 1 is get more emotionally connected to your audience better than your competitors. And you'll see certain influencers and certain people on the right talk about this regularly. If the left or Democrats are better at Republicans and conservatives and independents and libertarians, who's way better than libertarians. If the Democrats are better at anything in the marketing game, it is absolutely number 3 in the rule game. Get emotionally connected to their customers better than anybody else, right?
Right.
And so while we may have politics, we may have healthy debate on different policies, the name of the game, as you see from Coca-Cola, is sell the emotions. And if you sell the emotions to your customers, you're going to get the buy-in. Is that right?
Right.
And then we're not going to have debates. And we're not able to have open discussion like Thomas Sowell for Black History Month makes it abundantly clear we have to have in order if we want to accomplish goals, right?
Right.
But when individuals get in and they focus on the emotional appeal, it destroys and divides all of America because you're no longer able to have conversation because you're emotionally invested and you're not even really sure why in some of these cases, okay? Now, we know the science. We've studied the science. We learned a great deal that we know why some of that pendulum is swinging further to the left on the left side and why the conservatives on the right are still more in the center because some principles don't change and some principles for the left have changed. Is that right?
Right.
Right. We see more and more the idea of freedom is wanted, and we see more and more of the left losing liberties in order to pursue those. And we know from Benjamin Franklin that we can't do that. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, the founding fathers made it clear that if we want our liberties, we must hold on to them. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So as a libertarian or even as a conservative, those ideals will never change. We want a small government so that we have more power to the people. And we want to see more power in local state governments, which require participation. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
And that's one of the greatest things that we've seen change is that you in America are speaking up. You're taking the anthem. You're standing up, not just united, but you're voting more in local elections. We have arguably the most important midterms ever in America coming up, and we want you to be informed, and we want all of our readers to be informed on what's on the ballot. So That's what we'll talk about a little bit later this year. Right now, we have too much accountability to get to. We have Black History Month, and we have wonderful things happening for America's 250th. So we have some wonderful things this week to talk to you about. We've gone past our 15-minute show today, but we've got more people jumping in from Facebook and from elsewhere in the world right now. So we want to make sure that we get a little bit more on Thomas Sowell so you guys can understand.
Yep.
Again, focusing on empirical evidence rather than theoretical probabilities allows us to get to solutions in real time. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't have some theoretical probability conversations, but in fact, if one team has been managing a team for a while and the policies are failing, it's healthy to try a new coach, to try a new method, to get some extra training in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not healthy for anywhere to see the same people running the same program, the same play, expecting different results. That's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk more about Thomas. So Thomas, in his work, focuses on empirical evidence rather than theoretical probabilities. It's an approach that he believes is missing from the modern education. In classrooms today, your imagination is just as good as knowing the facts. He explains, for example, in studying our colonial history, we ask a child, how would you feel if you were a child in those days? How can we expect that child to understand before knowing the facts? He calls it preposterous approach to education. You literally put in front what belongs behind. Now, do we talk about the rearview mirror, Addy, quite regularly?
Yes, we do.
We talk about you should look in the rearview mirror and see what's behind you. Should you stare at the rearview mirror?
No.
No, you're driving. Where are your eyes?
Forward.
That's right. That does not mean that you don't look behind and you don't know where we come from. Is that right?
Right.
But you can't say live in the past. Is that right?
Right.
Grade inflation is another problem. So guys, listen, these are things that were written over a decade ago from Thomas, and we're talking about it now in 2026, and you're going to understand. Grade inflation is another problem Sowell sees in education. It's a great tragedy, he says. Students need honest grades to tell them where they are. Otherwise, they will be going into a world unequipped, unaware that they are unequipped. He tells a story about a teacher teaching at Harvard University. Guys, this is decade-old information here. I was teaching price theory, and I had brought my work from Rutgers. When I explained that I would not lower my standards, there were a lot of student complaints and a lot of controversy. Some went to the dean to have me fired. But once they found out that I wasn't going to change, they did well. By the end, students were lobbying for me to stay. It was the best and worst year of my teaching career. Did we hear that, guys?
Yes, we did.
What did we learn? What do we know about Thomas? Is he a man that stands by his principles?
Yes.
Is he similar to us? He doesn't care what's going to come his way. Does he stand like a lion for who he wants to be?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas was a Marine, so he was probably always going to stand as a lion. But he grew up in Harlem, Addy. You've been in Harlem, haven't we?
Yes.
We will never forget that smell. It is still 2026, and there is still a problem with that odor in Harlem, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Right. And then brave men and women, have they cleaned up Harlem? Has Harlem come a long way?
Yes.
Yeah. Is Harlem a beautiful place?
Yeah.
Yeah. New York City was wonderful in certain parts of the world that we were able to get to during the day, right?
Yeah.
We were welcomed very much so. We loved Harlem, right?
Yes, we did.
And yet when he was there, it was very dangerous. He didn't even get a high school degree, went on to colleges, comes back. And where is his conversation? His conversation is being real. His conversation is holding people accountable. And if you don't understand what Thomas Sowell was talking about decades ago, look no further than what California has had to do with their remedial math classes. We're not talking about the students, guys. We're talking about Thomas Sowell. In California, exactly what Thomas Sowell said decades ago and has written 30 plus books on. They have had to take the math classes from a remedial math class 1 to a remedial math class 2 for 20-year-olds. For students coming into college that graduated high school, they are not able to complete college entry math, let alone remedial high school math. They actually had to create a second remedial math class in college that goes all the way back to 8th grade plus 8th grade for these college students, just so they could actually get them to the standard they're supposed to be on. Now, you understand that Thomas writes about this regularly. Don't listen from us, the journalists. Go read directly from Thomas. Read his words, read his wisdom, see his experience and what he's found on the ground. These things are not new. He put this out there decades ago, and we are just now, here in 2026, from Linda McMahon Shanahan, we're seeing Shannon, we're seeing lots of individuals step up and change the system that has dumbed down America. And we're thankful for that. Brave men like Thomas, with their education, with their hard work, with their experience here at Black History Month, have helped shape America because they've woken up so many individuals. I've never met a single liberal in my life that did not trust me enough to go read some Thomas. And if there's any reason that we've been able to help get people from other sides of the aisle together, Thomas Sowell is one of those individuals that brings people together.
Yeah.
So here in Black History Month, we encourage you to go read more. We're going to stop here for today, but we'll pick right back up tomorrow and read more about Thomas. We're reading directly from your National Endowment for the Humanities, Freedom 250, in which Thomas was given an award 2002, 1 year after we graduated, right? No one like 01. And are we going to read more of his beautiful work?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's great. There's important information for all of us to read. But for right now, we want to thank you guys for stopping by. We want to thank you for coming in and getting some news for the day. We hope we gave you some tidbits to help you learn, change, and grow. We know we always made a couple of our liberal buddies mad with the way we talk, right?
Yes, we do.
But Thomas Sowell decided he wasn't going to change, did he?
No, he was not.
And what happened to those students that first tried to get him fired once they realized that he was there to help them? Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. John Maxwell. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. That's right. Thank you for tuning in today. Proverbs 27:17.
Iron sharpens iron.
So for you stopping in today, you're strengthening us. And for you stopping in today, we're going to strengthen you. Thank you for connecting with us today. And thank you for sharing our show. As always, Addy, lead us out.
Let's go, kids. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
For all. And for a Monday, this is one of our highest counts yet.
Yeah.
Going on to multiple platforms is helping the views. We want to thank all of you guys from across. We're not sure, we can't see some of the chat from everyone, so we apologize there. But we do want to thank you guys for stopping in. If it's your first time here, can't wait to see you again tomorrow.
Yep. I have a joke for you guys.
What you got, Lily?
What do you call a fake fish?
What do you call a fake fish?
A fisherman.
Addie's making up her own jokes over here. Good job, little lady.
Thank you, Dad.
That was good. Thank you for dropping it on us.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. God bless. Take care. Happy Monday. Sorry we started late today. I can't imagine we're the only ones moving a little slow today. Get your pep step, get a couple of calf raises, and get the day started.
And remember,
You can't spell daddy without the Addy. I said you can't spell daddy without the